The community journalism class is an experience that every student should have. I think that a lot of students that come out of the journalism school expect to work at a big-time newspaper, when the reality is that most newspapers in the United States are community newspapers. They're small, focused into a community, small circulation. And I think that learning to write locally and to connect with people locally is a skill that every journalist should have, and is a skill that I think that I've really taken away from this experience in writing for the Durham Voice.
Most of the community members I met really, they were excited to get the stories told. It seemed like everywhere I went, someone was telling me, oh, no one ever comes around here. We never see anybody around here. And I think that was part of the reason that people were so receptive, is no one had covered them before. And I don't know why they trusted me right off the bat, but they did. And I think that was part of it. They just wanted to tell their story. And everybody does have a story to tell. It is cheesy, but it's true.
We don't always hear the real stories that are going on the ground. We don't always understand what lives are like, daily lives are like for community members. And as a videographer for the Durham Voice, I was able to learn about Durham, a community that I've spent some time in for the past couple of years, but I didn't really know the people. And so by spending time in Durham on the ground, walking around, I've encountered artists, I've encountered restaurant owners and chefs, and I've been in parts of Durham that most people would be afraid to go in. And I know now that the people that live in those areas and work in those areas are really good people, and they just want to be heard just like everybody else.
When I signed up for community journalism, I didn't really have a very clear idea exactly what it was, but I'm very pleased with what I've learned here. I had some internships and some experience working on small to medium to large size papers, but what I learned here, I don't think I could have learned there, because here we were really encouraged to go out into the community and really meet people and really immerse ourselves. And I think that sometimes when you're on deadline, you're kind of just encouraged to pick up the phone and call. But here I was almost encouraged to kind of go out and make friends, and that's something that I'm going to take away.
Learning to just have a real conversation with people was one of the most important things that I think that I've learned about community journalism, because it's not just about bringing a list of 10 questions and getting that person to answer them and that's it. It's a more personal relationship with whoever you're talking to.
I mean, I had no idea what to expect from taking a class called community journalism. I didn't really know. I never worked with a newspaper or done anything particularly for the Durham community. I didn't really know anything about the Durham community. And I just feel like overall it's just been such an incredible experience and very rewarding for me to be able to feel like I'm a part of something, especially learning so much about Durham and meeting so many inspiring people doing wonderful things for their community.
As a videographer, I think the toughest thing is to get somebody to trust you, and the camera is a very intrusive instrument, and so going into this I wasn't sure how much I was going to be able to get out of people. I was a little nervous, especially talking to strangers, and sometimes you need weeks to build a rapport, but most of the people I met were very willing, once they found out what we were doing, to talk with me, and they spoke very openly, and I was really surprised, honestly, at the response I got and support I got from the community.
I think that there's a misconception about journalism that, as in, if you have to work for the New York Times, you have to work for National Geographic, you have to work for Discovery Channel to be successful. That's all I've heard, basically. And this class really gives you an idea what actually is success in journalism, which is recognizing people who deserve to be recognized. And that's successful in itself. Writing about an old lady who sells the hot dog stand on the street, that's just as successful as writing a column for the New York Times. If you're accurate, if you're respectful of the person, then that's success, and I think that this class really shows you that.
I definitely feel like the stories of the people that are in Northeast Central Durham are being told now, and they are given some space that shines a positive light on the good things that are going on in that neighborhood. A lot of times we hear about the crime in Durham, we hear about high school dropouts, we hear about a lot of things that Durham is struggling with, but there's a lot of positive things going on. There's a lot of revitalization going on in neighborhoods. There's a big art scene that's moving into downtown, and these are things that we've learned about through Durham Voice, being in there on the ground, working and talking with people.
I think especially for Durham, most of our readers, most of the people in Northeast Central Durham don't have ready access to a computer. And I think that by putting the paper in print, these people will get to read their stories and they'll get to experience this newspaper as it was meant to be. And I think that it being online is a great way to get the name out there and to get interest about the newspaper. But once it goes in print, we'll be able to put it at churches and schools, and people will really be able to read and experience the newspaper and get the news from their community that doesn't always get the media attention that I think that it deserves.